1 year ago, a group of young people, including me, we were sitting randomly in some space just in the floor at COP. And we had this idea of, you know, children are there, young people are there, but we're just trying to find a space for ourselves to gather, to shine our energy and to say what we want to say. And today, after 6 months of work with 15 global and regional youth organizations, we were able to make this happen and welcome this space for all of us, which is today a home for our children and youth to engage, share our voice, unite, and be strongly present at COP. And in this situation, I am grateful for all the organizing team, including all the young people who have been helping this and making this happen. And the organizing team, as I said, has over 30 people from 15 global youth organizations. And I'm giving a shout out to our programs team. I don't know, whoever is there, please raise your hands. And I wanted to really give them some loud applauses. The logistics and the volunteers who are making this space happen, please raise your hands as well. Thank you all for making this happen. And of course, our amazing communication team who's did a great job with all the logos that you can see and making the pictures and covering the pavilion. Thank you also to the communication team and to also the greenhouse agency who's with us as well. And we couldn't do that, of course, without the support of the high-level champions and the Children Investment Fund Foundation, CIF, who did really a great push of making this happen. And I'm really grateful for them to join in hands with young people to make this happen. So it's a great momentum, and we are advancing with this. And we would love to tell you more about the pavilion since it's happening.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me? Testing, testing. Can you hear me? Okay. So we have made an incredible program for all of you. We have sessions, and we have, I think, around 100 sessions over the whole 2 weeks. We're going to have these every single day as well. We have speakers coming in every day. We're even going to start this ceremony with some wonderful speakers right now as well. Really, really exciting. And also our session hosts and our speakers, they come from all over the world. And the thing is, why this is so beautiful is because it's a huge mix of experience and background. So some of them, it's their first time here at COP. Some of them, they've been coming here for years. And so that's why it's very, very mixed, and I think caters to pretty much everyone. The way we've done this program is we've assigned each day to a theme, and we have thematic days for each theme, and I hope every single one of you in this audience will resonate with one of the themes and have one that you find interesting. So today is actually our Climate Justice Day, Tuesday, and we're kicking off our pavilion with Climate Justice Day. Tomorrow, some of the days have 2 themes, but they're not linked. They're just because we didn't have enough time to give each one its own day. So tomorrow we have finance and health, and then each day we'll just have more and more, and you can find more of these on the website.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So for the program, we have every single day, we'll have a high-level speaker slot around midday. I think maybe 1 or 2 days, or on occasion, this might change a little bit because we have to be accommodating to different schedules. But anyway, that will be happening every day. The sessions and workshops will generally be 1 hour long, and they'll be like back-to-back, always in here, just constantly running. They're all hosted by youth, for youth, and so I really hope you enjoy them. Today, actually, we have some really exciting speakers, and I'm now going to pass to Saad to tell you a bit more about that and also explain what this pavilion, all of the different spaces.
Definitely. So talking more about the pavilion, and today specifically, we have, of course, this high-level opening ceremony, which is really key to starting this program on a very positive note. After that, we have a high-level dialogue with His Excellency, Mr. Selwyn Hart from the UN, and he's the advisor on climate change. So we'll be having this dialogue from 12 to 12:30, and we'll be also having a dialogue with Her Excellency, the Prime Minister of Barbados, from 1:30 to 2:30. So that's also happening, and we will have networking sessions every day from 6 to 7 for us as young people to feel safe and engage and share with each other. this pavilion, as you can see, you are here in the conference room. We will have, as Serena said, over 100 sessions every day from 9 to 7. And we will have in the other side an open networking space for children to feel safe. For the first time, we have a space for children to feel safe and welcome, for young people to network and to meet with each other, for youth delegations to work, to co-working space and to engage. And we have meeting rooms, networking rooms, interactive arts and games and activities, all for you, so that you can feel safe all the time. And yeah, today we are going on with our opening ceremony, and let us introduce our speakers who are here with us today.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, and actually, just before I go on to this, I think it's okay. Okay. Okay, so anyway, to find, maybe do you mind just moving a little bit, and can you please calm down? This is in the middle of my ceremony.
Well, I will leave it.
Okay, anyway, to find our program every day, somewhere here, there is a screen, and that will list it and list everything happening for the day, and then you can just see this. And also, we do have a website. It's childrenandyouthpavilion.info, right?
Yes.
And then you can just go on this, and the program is there as well. So, okay, I would now like to introduce our wonderful speakers. So we have the UNFCCC Deputy Executive Secretary, His Excellency Ovais Samad. We also have Faustina and Kate from CIF, who are our wonderful funders and partners. We also have Omnia, who I think a lot of you might know already, who is the COP27 Youth Envoy. So, without further ado, let's get started with this.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
And
Hear me?
no.
I need
Also, then who?
Hello? Yes. Very good morning to all of you, and welcome. Welcome to COP27. Just a brief introduction. My name is Ovais Sarmad. I'm the Deputy Executive Secretary of UNFCCC, and it's a great pleasure to be here
Participate also today.
and to welcome
No, I want it.
People can
Chilate
so they go
here. This is the
access with
first
accreditation.
pavilion for children and youth in the history of COPs.
It's not working?
People to be in and
Is your mic on?
Oh, here.
Where's your thing? Can I turn to mine on?
Can you hear me now? Okay, so once again, this is history in the making, because this is, as was said, the first pavilion for children and youth in the history of COPs. So congratulations to all of those who made this happen. In fact, if there was, I speak personally, if there was an award for the pavilions in this whole event, this would get that award as the best meaningful pavilion. I really mean this, because as children and youth, it's about your future. Climate change is all about, and this is what the governments, the civil society, the private sector, they come together. But youth and children are extremely important, and their participation, and as was said, to provide a safe and a respectful space at the COPs, that's our responsibility, and we take that very seriously. And we would like to engage with youth and children in a much more meaningful way, not just as participants, but as meaningful collaborators in shaping the decisions the politicians will be making in the future, for the future, about climate change. So this is extremely important, and in UNFCCC and as the custodians of the Paris Agreement, Article 12 of the Paris Agreement is very clear. It's about action for climate empowerment and the youth and children engagement, and starting with climate literacy, climate education, and communication. And when I say about what I say about communication is important. Communication that comes out of the COPs is usually very heavy, very dense, and sometimes is full of jargon. But what the youth and children can do is to bring out in a simple way what that means, what are we trying to do. In simple terms, is we need to stop abusing the natural resources of our planet and become more responsible. And that can only happen through deep transformational changes in the society. And I strongly believe children and the youth are the most powerful agents to do that. And I really would like to welcome all of you once again. And from the UN Climate Change Secretariat, we will do everything to make sure your contribution, your participation will be meaningful, will be regular, will be consistent, and we will listen to you and we will help convey your voices to the larger community who are in the decision-making seats in the geopolitical world. So once again, thank you very much to all of you. I wish you all the best for the success of this pavilion. It already is a success.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you very much. And as we say in Africa, if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. And today, we are together as children and youth with UNFCCC, with different stakeholders working together to advance with the climate justice and climate restoration agenda. Moving on and speaking about representing people who need to be represented. We are hundreds of young people today here, but we have so many friends, brothers and sisters in the local communities who are leading change and who aren't able to be here. And it's important for us to recognize their voice, especially the local and indigenous communities. And in this case, I would love to showcase the video of our friends from the global coalition of collective territories who are voicing the voices of children and youth from the indigenous communities and sharing their messages with us. So let us see the videos, everyone.
E nos dias atuais, ele está sendo desmatado, está sendo invadido nossos territórios. Precisamos, enquanto jovens, se adentrar, se engajar nessa luta. Então você, jovem, venha conosco fazer parte dessa luta, proteger nossos territórios, proteger nossos anciões, proteger nosso povo.
À tous, je suis Moïse Kotouak. Je travaille au sein du Repalac dans le département de la jeunesse. Ici, en République démocratique du Congo, dans les milieux ruraux, les forêts sont utilisées d'une manière abusive, caractérisée par la dégradation et la déforestation. Vu cette menace, la jeunesse autochtone s'est mobilisée en sensibilisant la communauté pour que cette dernière, ou soit la communauté, prennent conscience ou soit qui retournent aux anciennes habitudes qui contribuent a la lucha contra el changement climático. Je vous remercie.
Hola, mi nombre es Yeli Castillo, soy mujer, joven e indígena cunadule de la comarca Conayala, aquí ubicado en Panamá, y formo parte del movimiento de la juventud de la MPB. Mi comunidad y de donde yo vengo está rodeado tanto de bosques como de mar. Tenemos con nuestra Mubili, que es nuestra mar, y nuestra Nalguana, nuestra madre tierra, es tan importante que es por esto que la practicamos y la cuidamos, ya que ellas nos dan alimento y nos dan un lugar donde vivir y que a ellas nosotros nos debemos. Actualmente, mi comarca Cunayala está afectado por el cambio climático y la pérdida de biodiversidad. El cambio climático se debe trabajar en conjunto porque no es un hecho aislado. No vivimos en tierras aisladas, sino vivimos en una sola madre tierra, el cual nos necesita y debe ser cuidado por todos.
My name is Pilo Karunde, indigenous youth from Minahasa. I am filmmaker. I'm a part of BPAN. Recently, there has been a lot of destruction of forests, historic sites, and spring in our indigenous territories. It was done by people who said they want to build a tourist spot. Ultimately, all of these affect to the destruction of our indigenous territory. Currently, together with the communities, we have documenting tradition and culture in Minahasa. We believe establishing practices can share knowledge about maintaining nature's harmony, and this can also be our advocacy media. With the spirit of homecoming movement, we invite all indigenous youth to be sensitive to indigenous people's rights, farming, preserving our mother tongue and traditional arts. Protecting traditional territories, not just for us now, but for our future generation. Indigenous youth, rise up, unite, and move to protect indigenous territories. Iyaya Tusanti!
Okay, this is so much better. Should I start again? Okay, let me just start again. Okay, so I am super excited to introduce our next speakers. So as my colleague Saad here mentioned at the beginning, CIF are our partners, and CIF is short for the Children's Investment Fund Foundation. And this pavilion would not have been possible without them, because they provided our funding and so much key support that has just made all of this happen. And so, yeah, I'm really happy to introduce them now. Two representatives who are going to speak now. So we have Kate Hampton, who is the CEO, and then we also have Faustina Finyam, who is the Executive Director for Africa for the organization. So please take it away.
Hi there. I didn't realize two of us from CIF were speaking until I saw the agenda, so apologies for that. But Faustina's a lot more entertaining than I am. It's a huge privilege to support you. And let me just give you one piece of advice for the future of the Youth Pavilion, because this is only the first and it will keep going, and we will keep supporting you, and others will too. Don't let anyone brand you. Okay, like, we have not put our branding on as funders. Never, ever let anyone brand this pavilion. This is your pavilion. Keep it that way. You decide. Keep the branding away. So I was just going to give you a little bit of background, like, what am I doing here and who the hell is CIF? So we're a large philanthropic foundation, the largest focused on children in the world. We've got offices in London, Nairobi, Delhi, Beijing, and Addis. And half of our work is on climate change. The other half is on children's health issues and child protection issues. So this is why the safeguarding policy is everywhere. It's really important to us that this is a safe space, and particularly for minors. So go around and challenge people who are wandering around and encourage them to download the safeguarding policy. So my first environmental campaign I ran at the age of 11. I'm now 48. I have to say the youth environmental movement has come a long way. You're much more diverse, much more experienced, much better educated. There weren't even environmental degrees when I went to university. and you're much more effective. And it's so exciting. When I saw the first Fridays for Future March in Parliament Square in my hometown of London, I burst into tears because it was such a moving thing to see all of these young people taking public space and demanding change. And I had spent many, many years on my own organizing, recycling and demonstrating. And it's such a wonderful thing to see you all here and so stepping into your power. When I came to my first COP, it was COP5. 2020 was a long way away. We all talked about peaking global emissions in 2020, and it seemed like ages. It seemed like we had loads of time. And since then, I feel like I've been sitting in the back of a car that someone is driving off a cliff in slow motion. And it was obvious to me when I was 11. It was obvious to me when I was 18. It's obvious to me now. It was obvious when my children will be born, who will be my age in 2060. It's obvious that this is a crisis that requires urgent attention from everyone, and it is just moving too slowly. And your voices are so crucial. Your impatience, your restlessness is so crucial to make progress. And we haven't seen meaningful youth engagement in the UNFCCC or indeed in climate policy processes in any country yet. Meaningful youth engagement needs to be inclusive, it needs to be intentional, and it needs to be mutually respectful. Things are decided about children's futures without them being in the room every day. We should not have the design of policies and programs that affect you without you in the room. But don't just expect to be invited into the room. Demand to be in the room. There are so many excluded communities around the world who don't have access to the decisions that affect them every day. As children who have the privilege to be here, because many of your cohort do not, you have a responsibility to bring as many voices into the room as possible. And as your adult allies, we will do our best to do that every day. Power needs to be shared. You need to be in the room. We need to do that job for you. And as somebody who was once a child advocate and a young advocate and who is now an ancient advocate and a mother of 2 little boys who I adore, it hits me like a bus every day that we are not making enough progress on this crisis. So please, if you need access to any decision makers, if you need advice on how to frame things, on what to do, please ask. There are a million people like me who are desperate to give you voice and work with you. So just ask. So many times when I was growing up, people said, you'll grow out of it, don't worry, you know, you're just young, you'll become more realistic when you're older. It's not true. Just to give you one example, when I was in my 20s, I said to middle-aged white male electrical engineers that renewables were the future, and they were like, oh, they'll always be too expensive. You can never have more than 5% wind on the grid. They were wrong. I was right. By sheer force of will, because you're going to outlive everyone else who's in here, you will make the future. You will make impossible things happen. Do not take no for an answer. Keep going, and we will do our best to support you.
Wonderfully said, Kate. So, as the African on the panel, I'd like to welcome you all to my continent. Those who are not from this continent, welcome to Africa. Welcome, COP, to Africa. When you empower the youth and you give them the resources and you give them the space, magic happens. Have we not seen that today? And we'll see that for the next 2 weeks. Magic will happen in this space, and I'm really grateful for that. The Youth Pavilion has been a great collaboration, actually, between the youth of the Global South and the Global North. And we all should be really proud of how well the youth collaborate together to make sure we move this agenda forward. So thank you for doing that. And just like, you know, my colleague spoke earlier on, it's often the youth have been very tokenistic in these conversations, you know, put in the right place to say nice things, and then everyone claps and go, aren't they fantastic? That one youth. But collectively, the youth have not been seen. You have not been given space. And hopefully, like Kate says, this is not only just the first time we're going to do this, but this will now be a permanent feature in all COPs to come. And it's up to you to drive it, to make it better, hold all of us accountable, and make sure that you are integral part of the process, not just tokenistic part of the process. I mean, my only advice to the youth from Africa, you have your leaders here in this forum. Hold them accountable, not only for what they say now in these forums, but when you go back home. Follow up with them. Make sure they are doing what they said they're going to do. Don't let them rest. Don't let them, you know, put this to the back burner until the next COP. We have to hold them accountable. CIF believes in empowering the youth, and we will keep on supporting you. And you are the leaders of, I mean, Kate talked to you about how at 11 she started her activism. Now look where Kate is sitting, with the decision makers, speaking to high level, working on policies, changing the world and so forth. I want to see all of you in those positions in future. Thank you so much for making this such a vibrant and well-organized pavilion, and we look forward to working with you further in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, usually when talking or describing the pavilion, people just randomly say, yeah, let's go to the youth pavilion. And I always correct, it is the children and youth pavilion. And we believe that children are an essential part of this conversation. We have provided safeguarding plans for children. We have provided a safe space for children, because this is where the energy, the inspiration, and the motivation starts. And we have with us today one of our panelists, a child activist. He's the UN Child Advisor, Mr. Francisco Javier Vara Manzanares, who is 13 years old, from Colombia. Thank you, gracias for joining us today, and we give you the floor.
Bueno, muchas gracias a ustedes. Es un gusto realmente estar justamente con ustedes.
Well, thank you so much to everyone. It is a pleasure to be with all of you here.
Y pues ante todo primero agradecer justamente este espacio, no solo para mí, sino para lo que implica este pabellón, ¿no? Lo que implica, es decir, la inclusión de los niños, las niñas y los adolescentes y los jóvenes.
Thank you so much for this space and also what it implies, which is the inclusion of children and youth.
Hoy en día pues tenemos un contexto, tenemos una situación que sabemos que es extremadamente preocupante. El mundo se debate pues entre la vida y la muerte, no estamos en una crisis climática.
We are in a very tricky context where we are debating about life and death, and we are in a climate crisis.
El cambio climático y el calentamiento sin precedentes de la temperatura pues no conoce fronteras, no tiene límites básicamente.
Climate change and the global warming doesn't have any borders.
Y por supuesto tampoco tiene edad, no afecta digamos a una población en específico, pero no, en realidad sí, los principales afectados sí tenemos una edad específica y somos los niños, las niñas y los jóvenes.
And of course it also doesn't differentiate with age, it affects all of us, but actually who are most affected is us, the children and youth.
Por eso es tan importante que justamente se generen espacios en donde la voz y la representación de los niños sea incluida. Históricamente, además de menospreciar y de matar a la vida, de matar a la naturaleza y de matar a la madre tierra, también hemos asesinado y hemos matado a los niños. No hemos incluido su voz y los hemos callado, los hemos vuelto invisibilizados y los hemos llevado a los márgenes.
So we lose the voice of the youth. Historically, the youth have been killed, have been marginalized, haven't been visibilized, and we haven't had these spaces to speak.
Y justamente que los niños podamos ser incluidos en estos espacios es algo clave, porque además de ser justamente la población más vulnerable a la crisis climática, también tenemos una voz. De hecho, hoy acá mi camisa dice: somos los potentes ciudadanos de la hora. Los niños también somos sujetos políticos y tenemos una voz, somos ciudadanos que debemos ser incluidos así como cualquier otro, sin importar la edad.
So I believe that because of all of this, youth needs to be included. This is key. We are the most vulnerable people, but we also have a voice. We are, in my shirt, you can read that we are citizens of the world, and we are also political people, so we need to be included. The youth, we can be politicians.
Así que agradecemos justamente que se creen estos espacios y seguiremos buscando estos mismos espacios para que cada vez los niños que tenemos esa voz sea escuchada y sea incluida sustancial, significativamente en esta COP. Esta COP, la COP27 en el Sharm Sheikh, es una oportunidad para seguir construyendo de manera transgeneracional, desde todas las generaciones, y para avanzar hacia una sociedad que cuide la vida y que incluya la voz de todos. Así que muchas gracias por escuchar la voz de los niños. Aún seguiremos haciendo ese esfuerzo porque los potentes ciudadanos de la hora seamos incluidos. Gracias.
So I really want to thank you all for these spaces. As the children, we are going to keep looking for these spaces so you can all hear our voices. We need to be inclusive, and we need to be inclusive in the COP also with the children and youth. And we hope that we can build something transgenerational where we include elders, children and youth. The society needs to include life, and we are life.
Gracias. Somos los potentes ciudadanos de la hora.
Can you hear me? Okay, this works. Sorry. I think this is better. I think it works. Okay, I think it works. That was brilliant. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm standing right in front of you. But yeah, that was so wonderful to hear your perspectives. Actually, so now, you know, earlier we played this video for you. And actually, we did have a speaker with it, but they had some issues at the gate. But anyway, they're here now. And so I would just like to very quickly give the floor to a representative of the Global Alliance of Territorial Communities, just to say some words. And then we have something really fun to show you. But first, please, the floor is yours.
No te preocupes. Okay, so please give a big welcome to the first woman youth leader of the Mesoamerican Alliance of Indigenous Peoples and Local Communities, Nancedalia Ramírez Domínguez.
Muchas gracias. Buenos días, juventudes del mundo. Mi nombre es Nancedalia Ramírez Domínguez. Soy del Ejido Cordón Grande de México y estoy representando a la Alianza Global de Comunidades Territoriales y al Movimiento de Juventud.
Hi, youth and children of the world. My name is Nancedalia Ramírez Domínguez. I come from the Ejido Cordón Grande in Mexico. I'm here representing the youth and children from indigenous communities and local communities from 24 countries.
Nuestra organización representa 24 países de diferentes partes del mundo y estamos representando y protegiendo 950 millones de hectáreas de bosques tropicales.
We together, this global alliance, we protect more than 950 million hectares of tropical forest.
Estamos aquí en nombre de todas las juventudes. Hemos logrado solo venir una pequeña delegación de lo que es el movimiento de juventud. Sin embargo, nos respaldan miles de jóvenes que se encuentran en territorio, protegiendo los bosques, protegiendo el aire que respiramos todos.
I am here in the name of the youth. Only a very small delegation could come, so I want you to be aware that we have the youth and the children in the territories that are protecting the lungs of the earth that we are all breathing today.
Nos han colonizado. Les perdonamos.
You have colonized us. We forgive you.
Nos han quitado la mayor parte de los recursos que sustentan la vida en el planeta y a las comunidades. Les perdonamos.
You have taken from us all the natural resources that sustain planet Earth and the communities. We forgive you.
Vamos a llegar a un punto de no retorno, en un futuro muy próximo. Si el colonialismo extractivista continúa matando la vida en el planeta, si los derechos de los niños y los jóvenes siguen siendo violentados, no los vamos a perdonar.
Déjame leerlo. We are getting to a point of no return, to the tipping point in the very near future. If the extractivist colonialist keeps killing life of Mother Earth and our lives of the children and youth, if we are being violated and murdered, we are not going to forgive you anymore.
Hoy en el Día de la Justicia Climática, las juventudes estamos presentes. Las juventudes de pueblos indígenas y comunidades locales nos hemos aliado con jóvenes activistas de todo el mundo, porque en esta lucha todas y todos somos necesarios.
So today, in the day, a special day of the climate justice, the youth and children, we are present. The youth and children for indigenous communities and local communities, we have done allies with activists from all over the world, because this fight is the fight of all of us. We are all needed.
Desde las juventudes de comunidades territoriales, les rogamos que escuchen a la ciencia.
From indigenous communities and local communities, we beg you, please listen to the science.
Tal vez seamos la última generación que pueda tomar realmente acción. Nosotros ya lo estamos haciendo en nuestro día a día, adaptando, mitigando y conservando la poca naturaleza que nos queda. ¿Y ustedes están tomando su responsabilidad?
¿Dónde era? We are maybe the last generation that can take action. As we are already doing it in our daily life, we are adapting, we are mitigating, we are preserving the little nature that we have left. And you guys, are you taking your responsibility?
¿Qué queremos?
Justicia climática. What do we want? Climate justice. When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.
Honestly, so powerful. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, go ahead. Can you? Thank you. Can you please clear this space? Can everyone please respect what we're trying to do right now and keep it down? Okay, I think it's okay. Can you unlock? It's always so powerful for me as someone who entered the movement as a climate justice activist to hear these kind of words and to hear what the indigenous representatives have to say. And so I can say, oh, I don't know where you've gone.
Can we bring that chair?
Thank you.
From the networking space.
I'm not finished. And so now I did say I have something fun for all of you. So I would really love to present to you now El Wiley in collaboration with Community Jamil. So El Wiley is the stage name of the young music producer Kareem Gaber, born in Upper Egypt. And so in this performance, they will be exploring the intersection between the local environment, music, and youth. So please welcome them on stage.
future, and we would like to see strong political will and commitment. And for this COP27 here in Sharm, we have a few demands that we want to see happen. We want our world leaders to work together with us as natural partners to the climate agenda. We have our demands, but we also have our solutions. What we want to see this year is our political leaders to deliver on climate finance, especially for electricity, to deliver on a finance recovery for loss and damage, to deliver on a good and a powerful mitigation work program, and most importantly, to deliver on a standardized quota for young civil society members and young negotiators to be part of official country delegations and speak on their behalf. So together as young people, we are achieving magic, we are achieving great things, but we really want our world leaders to do the same, to look at us as an example for urgency, for seriousness, and pragmatic action. And as a COP27 presidency, we are going to ensure, and this is a promise that I will make sure my steps will happen, that your voices, your demands, and your solutions are integrated directly into the negotiation process for the first time. And right now, we are planning together with the youth constituency the first ever youth-led climate forum on November 10th. This means that we are having 2 roundtable discussions, not panels or sessions. We have invited and we have already the negotiators confirmed to sit on the same table with youth experts and youth representatives discussing the global youth statement that is representing the voices of millions of young people here at COP, but also in their own home countries on adaptation, mitigation, finance, loss and damage, you name it. And as the COP27 President's Youth Envoy, I'm sincerely asking you to use me and let's work together, strategize, see how throughout the 2 weeks we can make a meaningful integration and mainstreaming of our demands and our voices to the world leaders and the policymakers. So finally, climate change is the greatest single threat to our health, and at the same time, it's the greatest priority to our people. And that is why we want to work together to make us the last generation to face the climate crisis. Thank you.
Right now, and it's so true because look at where we are right now, and we as the young people made this, and then also all of you in the audience as well. I already know you're going to be also making so much magic over the next 2 weeks, and you are already as well. And exactly as Omnia says, now we need to push for our decision makers, our negotiators to also do the same and follow in our footsteps. But so with that, this is now coming to the end of our ceremony, and I would like to pass over to my wonderful colleague Zihan, who's also from our programs team, to close the session.
Thank you so much, and thank you again to the speakers for all your wonderful interventions. Thank you for coming. This may be the end of the opening ceremony, but this is just the start of our climate journey. Colleagues, on behalf of the Children and Youth Pavilion Steering Committee, we want to thank you for all your support of the pavilion to make this possible. We know so much effort has been put in by all the working groups to make this happen. We want to express our gratitude for all the working groups for this, and we would also like to invite you for the next 10 days of exciting program lineup that we have. More than 50 sessions led for youth, by youth, and with youth. And in addition to that, every day at 12 noon, we will have a high-level speaking engagement, starting today with His Excellency Selwyn Hart, the Special Advisor to the Secretary General on Climate Action and Just Transition. He will be here today at 12 p.m. to give a speech, and on every other day of the Youth Pavilion, of the Children and Youth Pavilion, you will also see a high-level speaker to engage here with youth meaningfully. Colleagues, young people, we are the future of this planet, and we are the best hope for 1.5. if you look at the climate clock right now, you will see we have 6 years, 256 days, and 7 hours left to make 1.5 happen. So let's get this started. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so with that, we are happy to close the opening ceremony. And before moving to the next session who is waiting, let us all gather here to take a group children